Welcome to part 2 of the new worker orientation for Alberta Waste and Recycling. In this part of the orientation, we're going to talk about 4 critical errors, reporting and investigations, decisions that can change behaviors, hierarchy of controls, distractions, complacency, rushing, frustration, and fatigue, emergency response, equipment maintenance program, hazard assessments, safety meetings and SWPs, harassment and violence, Health and Safety Committee, and OH&S legislation. 4 critical errors or mistakes that increase the possibility of injury are states and errors. States are causes, so things like rushing, frustration, fatigue, and complacency. Errors are things which cause them, like eyes not on task, mind not on your task, line of fire, grip, balance, and traction. Hazards are at the top of every triangle. We want to reduce the amount of hazards, so we start with near misses, things that almost happened but didn't, incidents that are things that do happen with first aid, incident investigation with WCB, that's when somebody gets injured, major incidents are lost time, and fatalities. What are near misses? Near misses are slips, trips, falls with no injury, almost accidents, almost equipment damage, almost property damage, almost injury, anything that may happen but didn't. What are incidents? Incidents are vehicle equipment damage or destruction, property loss or damage, worker injuries, first aid, medical clinic, the OIS clinic, hospital, occupational illnesses, work refusals, and spills. Long-term injuries, occupational illnesses, can be part of working. These occur after years of continued work. Some examples are repetition injuries, force injuries, positional injuries, vibration and noise injuries, standing and sitting for long periods of time, working with chemicals, and weather. What are non-incidents? Non-incidents are things that happened that didn't create an incident, or things that happened that we don't see happening. So these are things like illegal dumps, after hours minor damage, resident complaints, wild animal sightings, or actions on site. When do investigations happen? Investigations happen when there is a serious incident, when there is a major incident, when there is a serious injury or fatality, when AWR, COA, which is the City of Airdrie, or Rocky View County request one, when occupational health and safety is involved, and when a number of the same type of incident occurs in the same or similar location. These investigations can be completed by any member of the HSC committee and with the safety representative or an investigator from the OH&S or a supervisor and or manager. What do I do during an investigation? Stay calm. Answer any questions with just the facts. Give appropriate information. Be specific. Don't be afraid to report. None of us are very scary. Most importantly, be honest. Decisions can change behavior. Changing behavior is immediate if you decide to do so. You can decide to slow down. You can decide to wear your PPE properly. You can decide to pay attention or keep your mind on the task at hand. You can decide to look around and see what is happening around you. You decide, the behavior changes, and there's an immediate response. Distractions. There are visual distractions, auditory distractions, manual distractions, or cognitive distractions. Visual distractions are signs and displays, flashes or bright lights, animals or scenery. Auditory distractions, cell phones, computers, clicking pens, other conversations, and general noise. Manual distractions are displays, controls, items that move in your hand, navigation controls, or maps. Cognitive distractions, daydreaming, lost in thought, and emotions. Complacency. Just because things are going well now doesn't mean they can't suddenly go horribly wrong. Complacency in the workplace is when you become so secure in your work that you take potentially dangerous shortcuts in your tasks, don't perform to the same quality as you once did, or become unaware of deficiencies. Complacency can become a more major issue in industries like construction and healthcare, where it's important to remain vigilant and very aware of workplace hazards. It's important to recognize the signs of complacency so you can address and change the behavior. Here are some of the complacency to watch out for: disengagement, lack of investment in yourself or others, loss of passion for your work, disinterest in opportunities or promotions, less thinking before action, shortcuts, frequent mistakes, minimal initiative or none at all, neglecting tasks, and showing carelessness. Rushing. The dangers of rushing. Rushing is a characteristic of human nature. It's human nature to want to get a job done as quickly as possible. Getting a task done in a hurry gives you the ability to start your next task sooner, in some cases, more time to do other things that may be more enjoyable. Many of us grew up being told that it's important to accomplish as much as we can and as timely as we can. But what we often aren't told is that rushing can result in accidents, errors, and more time spent in the long run. We need to do our jobs correctly and safely. Let's look closer at what can happen when you hurry. Rushing to get our jobs done can result in injury to ourselves and those around us. Stats from one insurance company show that 92% of the time the reason accidents occur is because workers aren't doing their tasks properly. Being in a rush makes it unlikely you will perform your task as you should. Among the consequences of being in too much of a hurry are accidents involving yourself and coworkers, mistakes which can result in unhappy customers, the need to redo a task you thought was already done, product damage or loss. Hurrying do's and don'ts. Think about the consequences of hurrying. Know that rushing can result in serious injury to you and your coworkers. Always take the time to put on safety equipment properly, use the right tools, and follow safety instructions. Dress properly for the job. It may take a few extra minutes to put on your safety glasses, hard hat, and other safety equipment, but it can save you from serious injury. Use the right tools for the job. Identify hazardous situations in advance. If you're rushing through a task, your mind is on getting it done, not on what may happen next. Don't remove safety guards or safety shields and continue to operate equipment without them. Don't have the attitude that you can just hurry this one time. Don't fail to take the time to read the operator's manual or heed safety warning signs. Don't be in so much of a rush that you neglect your personal safety or the safety of those around you. Our first priority is your safety. When we rush, we not only jeopardize your well-being, but we also sacrifice quality. In the end, this costs us all more time to get it right. Frustration and fatigue. Frustration. Taking control of your frustrations and even adapting your perspective can significantly improve your mood and outlook on your job. Here are 9 steps to consider if you're feeling frustrated at work. Analyze the situation. Look for the bright side or the silver lining. Talk about it. Speak with your boss or supervisor. Work-life alignment is important. Set reasonable boundaries. Identify where you can make improvements. Communicate with coworkers outside of work. Concentrate on your skills. It's very difficult to avoid frustration in life. However, you can learn to manage it efficiently. Managing feelings of frustration, like so many other aspects of life, isn't always easy, though it is well worth it in the end. Fatigue. Tired, weariness, and sleepiness. Drooping heads, incessant yawning, and eyelids that seem to be closing are the most obvious indicators that a worker is fatigued and needs time to recover before costly errors and accidents happen. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words. Irritability. Workers can be irritable for many reasons, including problems at home, financial stress, conflict with coworkers, Another reason may be the lack of rest. It is a good idea to watch for patterns of irritability or newly developed bad attitudes, especially when combined with other signs on the list. Reduced alertness, concentration, or memory. Watch for workers who appear to have trouble focusing or who can't recall seemingly simple things, like what they just said or did. Having difficulty solving problems can also be an indicator of fatigue. Lack of motivation. Employees who appear to suddenly lack motivation to do their job and do it well may seem lazy, but this is generally a sign of broader issues, including fatigue. Increased mistakes or lapses in judgment. If a worker who is otherwise proven to be competent and good at their job starts making frequent errors or poor choices, it might be a sign of sleep deprivation or fatigue. Headaches. Headaches are a sign of fatigue, but they can also be a sign of dehydration. Before deciding if it's fatigue, make sure all workers are adequately hydrated on the job, even when it's not hot outside. Increased susceptibility to illness. Workers who are suddenly taking more time off due to illness may be experiencing fatigue. Insufficient sleep wears the body down and affects a person's ability to fight colds, flu, and other illnesses. With an increase in fatigue, it's not uncommon to see a rise in absenteeism. Emergency response. Emergency response plans. All sites must have a muster point, a signal plan, 3 air horn blasts, current on-site first aider, ID of the closest emergency services, including hospitals, ID location of fire extinguishers and first aid kits. Here are some of the symbols. A muster point is a star with M or MP in it. The first aid kit is always a red cross, and a fire extinguisher we do in this company as a yellow or orange oval. Equipment maintenance program. Mobile equipment and vehicles. Only those authorized and have competency completed by AWR's evaluators are permitted to operate mobile equipment. A pre-trip, post-trip must be completed each time you use a piece of equipment or vehicle. This is in a book located in either each piece of equipment or machinery or located in a central location. Where there is damage, defects, or maintenance is to be documented and submitted to your immediate supervisor. Implement lockout tagout procedures on equipment found unsuitable for use or does not meet with manufacturing specifications. Before locking out, speak with your supervisor. Tools and equipment. All hand tools and equipment must be inspected prior to each use. Where defects, damage is found, or maintenance required, submit the completed form, incident or non-incident, to your supervisor immediately. Implement lockout tagout procedures on any equipment found hazardous, unsuitable for use, or does not meet manufacturer specifications. Safety meetings. Daily hazard control meetings provide communication to access ongoing hazards and changing conditions. Documenting on the designated form and worker participation are mandatory components to these 5 to 10 minute maximum shifts startup sessions. These provide all workers an opportunity to participate in hazard identification and team input on what controls will be implemented. These brief meetings will also provide a designated time and collectively review any incident findings, monthly site inspection reports, or maintenance program issues. Safe work procedures and practices. Safe work practices are documented control that outline general do's and don'ts of common work activities such as using power tools or ladders. Safe work procedures are a series of specific steps that guide a worker through a task from start to finish in sequential order. Safe work procedures are company specific because each organization has different equipment and processes that make up the hazards in the operation. These written safety documents assist in implementing appropriate controls to prevent injury and incidents, and they are in the safety manual. on your site. Potential hazards and controls. It is the regulated responsibility of AWR to identify potential hazards and related controls that may occur on the worksite. We are going to reference Alberta OH&S Blue Book, the code, and that's part 2. Some of the potential hazards are dust and silica, slips, trips, falls, sharps, protruding objects, pinch points, manual lifting, traffic, fire hazards, wind, extreme weather, compressed gas cylinders, and driving company vehicles. Hierarchy of controls. The hierarchy starts with the control perceived to be the most effective and moves down to those considered least effective. As defined by OH&S, it flows as followed. Elimination. Physically remove the hazard. Substitution. Replace the hazard. Engineering controls. Isolate people from the hazard. Administrative controls. Change the way people work. Personal protective equipment. Protect the worker with PPE. Engineering controls are things that physically stop us from getting to the hazard. Administrative controls are things we read or understand to keep us away from the hazard. And PPE are things we wear to keep us away from the hazard. Workplace harassment and violence policy. The workplace harassment and violence policy is an OH&S mandated policy. Workplace harassment means any objectionable or unwelcoming conduct, comment, or action that a person knows or ought to reasonably know will or would cause offense or humiliation to a worker, but excludes any reasonable conduct of an employer or supervisor in respect of the management or the workplace. Workplace violence. According to Alberta's OH&S Safety Code, workplace violence means the threatened, attempted, or actual conduct of a person that causes or is likely to cause physical injury. Examples include the following: threatening behavior such as shaking fists, destroying property, or throwing objects, verbal or written threats, any expression of intent to cause harm, physical attacks such as hitting, shoving, pushing, or kicking. Domestic violence in the workplace is a range of behaviors or actions taken by a person to control and dominate another person. This is characterized by abusive, coercive, forceful, or threatening acts or words used by one member of a family, household, or intimate relationship against another. Domestic violence can enter the workplace when an abuser attempts to harass, stalk, threaten, or injure a victim at work. Your responsibilities. Workers of AWR are required to be familiar with and follow the procedures that are in the place to protect the psychological health. All employees are to participate in the instruction of respect in the workplace training, which includes violence and harassment prevention as well as domestic violence in the workplace. Workers have the responsibility to treat each other with respect. They are required to immediately report all violations of this policy to their supervisor. They are responsible to cooperate in the investigation of complaints. Details will be kept confidential, with an asterisk to that. Workers are responsible for participating in worksite hazard assessments and implementing controls and procedures to eliminate or control the associated hazards. Health and Safety Committee. The Health and Safety Committee must have 4 members, with at least half representing the workers. Worker representations are selected by the workers for a term of not less than 1 year and may continue to hold office until their successor are selected or appointed. Employer representatives are assigned by the employer. Worker co-chair is chosen by the worker members. Each committee must have 2 co-chairs, 1 employer and 1 worker. HSC committee members. Michelle Beddoes is the employer rep. Adrian Spring Hill is Liam Quinn. North Calgary is Emily LeBlanc. Grey Creek and Springbank is Danielle Atkinson. Langdon is Jerry Red Sharp. Irricana is Shannon DeFields Usselman. And Chuck Wagons is Troy Mack. Committee Rep phone numbers are listed on the AWR Health and Safety Committee member list. These are posted in lunchrooms, pay booths, and or the chuck wagon doors or binders. The OH&S legislation for workers' rights. You have 3 rights: the right to know, the right to participate, and the right to refuse unsafe work. You have the right to know about the hazards you're working with, you have the right to participate in safety meetings, and you have the right to refuse unsafe work. Thank you for your participation in orientation parts 1 and 2. Let's get on with your site orientation. Welcome to Alberta Waste and Recycling. I look forward to working with you.